What is going on, everybody? My name is Jay for CapShotz, bringing you guys a brand new video with, of course, my co-host slash host, Michael Hush.
Yo.
And today we're talking about, as you can see in the title and the thumbnail, we're going over episodes 1 to 3 from Ahsoka. So far, a very good show, very entertainable show. We've been missing on some Star Wars action here recently. I know we had, I think, Tales of the Jedi earlier in the year. We also had the season 2 of the, I forget what, the animated or the anime. I forget what that.
I didn't
the
watch
anime.
that.
I forget what that's called. I didn't watch season 2. Not gonna lie. Season 1 was great. Forgot to watch season 2. Forgot it even came out until like just now. But it's all good. Today we're gonna be talking about episodes 1 to 3 of Ahsoka. Really excited to continue to watch this series, watch it unfold. Excited to see the Rebels characters more. A big fan of their appearances so far. We're kind of just gonna get into episode 1, try and transition to today's episode that came out on 8:30. We both watched them today. I watched it while I was at work on break. Not gonna lie, I was like, need that in my life. Need it real quick. A little bit of a shorter episode compared to the first ones, though. First and second episodes are about 50 minutes apiece, I believe, give or take. This one was only a little over 30 minutes. So it kind of worked out.
33.
Yeah, so it kind of worked out. Not too bad in terms of length. But Hush, Michael, take me into episode 1. Give me some basic thoughts. Give me some basic lines. Let's kind of get this discussion going.
Well, it kind of starts off in a really cool way of the fake Jedi, taking over that rebel ship. They have that prisoner that we've seen from Mandalorian season 2 when Ahsoka first appeared. Um, Honestly, I was really loving to fucking see those characters. I don't even know who they are, but I was just like I was vibing with them. I was like, this is cool. Like they're not Sith, which is honestly, it's a breath of fresh air. Now, it's something a little different. I like that the lightsaber's orange. I like the color. It's just me. Need to get the specific person so they could find Thrawn, basically. Um, so my thoughts for like episode 1, dude. I thought it was good. I absolutely loved the way it was shot. I don't know why. I just the way everything looked, I thought it was fantastic, and it was probably I think some of it was even shot better than The Mandalorian, some scenes, not everything. Um, and as you said before, loved seeing the Rebels characters. Like I just came off watching Rebels show, like Clone Wars and Rebels back to back, and so I'm right fresh off it, and I'm so like not connected with these characters, but like I really love these characters, and seeing them in live action is really cool. Um, I think the way the villains were introduced, with just with the fake Jedi, no, not fake Jedi,
Well,
they're like
they're a fake
Jedi.
Jedi. I mean, they literally
They
said
were
that
Jedi.
they gave a code that was of old Jedi remnants. So that's why the people of the New Republic were like, ah, yeah, let's call their bluff and let them on. And then
Yeah.
that ended up being their demise, which I thought was a kind of cool new way of showing like kind of Darth Vader's assault on Leia's ship that we kind of see at the end of Rogue One. I thought that was really cool the way that it was like more brutal. It was almost like a what we could have seen. I mean, Rogue One was like a better telling of how Darth Vader essentially entered that ship and like went to town, unlike the rebels that were on that ship.
Yeah.
But I think this was even more like a more gruesome, like a more animated version of it, where I mean they were just kind of casually going through, just going to town. You can kind of tell that the young apprentice is so eager to just go through and just start mowing him down, while the master is just kind of casually just using more of the force ability, not so much of the lightsaber kind of deal, which I thought was really cool to see like, that kind of difference of like the like new blood versus like veteran master presence type of deal. I thought that was really cool to like start the show that way.
Dude, they're just mad. Like, they were just cool. Like, I don't know. They're just fucking cool characters, dude. Like, I'm fucking with them a lot. Like, I'm hoping they don't die. I know, unfortunately, Ray Stevenson, passed away in real life, so it sucks. I'm hoping he doesn't die in the show. They might just, I don't know how they'll do. I don't know how it's gonna end, so I don't know how they're gonna do with him. But I'm fucking with their characters a lot. I'm loving it. Um, I thought the way they were explained was pretty good. that they're like there used to be Jedi, and then actually the other one had the like same basically like braiding as a Padawan.
Hmm.
So like they're literally just I'm assuming since they're not Sith, they're like Jedi mercenaries, kind of
I mean,
like they're
it's
like
just
in the
more
middle.
so like, and not even like, I mean, the whole Jedi Sith thing. The difference between them is like literally just like the essence of like the good and evil part. It's your
Yeah.
light side, your dark side. Like these guys are almost like the kind of way of like it seems like both. Where yeah, I mean, I was under the impression that they were a version of Sith, but not like a true to the tail Sith. Like they're kind of like they kind of almost lean Sith, but they are not like full Sith where it's like, they're expecting the young Padawan to eventually turn on her master, like pretty much the entire way that the Sith works. Um,
Yeah.
so it's kind of interesting to kind of see, like you said, breath of fresh air to kind of see something a little bit new, not so basic as Jedi Sith. Kind of on both sides, we're seeing a little bit of um, we're seeing Ahsoka and Sabine kind of lean Jedi ways, but not Jedi. Where we're seeing Balin and I honestly forgot her name, if I'm being honest, the Padawan
I'm
essentially.
I'm I'm bad with
Um,
names, so it's yeah.
but we're seeing her kind of be like the being more them be like the leaning Sith, but not traditional Sith. So like they're both like
Yeah.
both sides are kind of non-traditional. We're not seeing just straight up like Jedi, Sith. We're seeing a new version of it. We're seeing a different version of it. Which I think, as the episodes have gone on so far, I think it's been really cool to kind of see how that whole thing works.
Yeah.
Definitely. The whole episode basically starts with them breaking out Morgan. Can't remember her last name now.
Oh, I don't remember her last
I
name
I
either.
am completely losing these names. We're gonna need to remember these for the future. But they kind of break her out, and then so starts everything to try and get Thrawn back, and then try and find these certain things, and then we see Ahsoka basically doing a little shout out to Jedi Fallen Order, Jedi Survivor, this kind of thing of um this puzzle, finding this puzzle while she's in a temple. She's kind of trying to figure out this puzzle, trying to figure out if she can get the item that she's looking for, which she does it, she gets it, and then we see assassin droids, which those are pretty badass, like
Yeah.
droids. Those are pretty sick.
Honestly,
To
overall,
kind of see,
the fight scenes are fucking
we're
sick.
very cool. Definitely, we're very very cool. Um, So trying to remember it. What after Ahsoka gets the thing, she evades the assassin droids that kill themselves. We see Hu Yang, who is voiced by David Tennant. Um, Literally one of my favorite actors of all time. Straight up, love him in Doctor Who. Loved him ever since I was much younger. So really really cool to see that he's reprising his Rebels character for sure. Um, he's also been a really cool part of the show, not only as being like kind of like the sidekick to Ahsoka in a way, but also being like a very telling character and a very honest character. As we continue to find out later on in the episodes. Um,
Yeah.
but I mean, I love seeing her ship. Her ship is very interesting in another kind of interesting way that the ship looks. It can be vertical one time, it can be horizontal the next, type of deal. I think that's very cool. It's a very cool thing we get to see as well.
Mhm.
So after they escape, get into the whole thing, I forget honestly what the next kind of part is leading into the rest of episode one. I need you to kind of jog my memory on that little bit right
I'm gonna
there.
be honest. I don't. It will just happen. We were fresh off it. We be knowing everything
Oh
that
yeah, we
happened
we be
little by
balling.
little.
The problem is having episode one and two together. I watched them at the same time, so I'm wanting
The
to almost
same.
combine them in a way,
It's
to
also
like
been
the kind
one,
of parts that I
literally 1 week.
remember.
It's
Yes, so
actually
it's also been a week to the day actually since those episodes came out. I didn't watch it until Thursday last week because I forgot it came out. Like I literally forgot it was the day that Ahsoka came out, and then I woke up the next day and I was like, holy shit, Ahsoka came out. So
They
yeah.
did something different because it was supposed to be Wednesday the 29th or some shit, and then they moved it to the 28th at 9 Central. Not 9 Central, 9 Pacific.
Yes.
I was like, oh shit, okay.
Yeah, so they basically just
I
gave it
still
to
didn't watch it the
us.
next day.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, me too. I was like, oh shit, that came out. Um,
I got a question for you though.
yes,
Now we see a Inquisitor in the
yes.
show, right? So
I want to be
I,
Star Killer so bad, so
well,
bad.
that's the thing. That's my question. Who is this mystery Inquisitor? Because I was trying to tell my dad like if the way the timeline is working in my head, he's either the last one or he's like veered off from the Sith and kind of just like working on his own as like a mercenary. So that's kind of cool. Like, and I was watching Screen Crush naturally,
Naturally.
and
Shout
naturally,
out.
and he has a whole video on it that, and I sent it to you that like he thinks it's possible that Ezra Bridger from Rebels is the Inquisitor. Now
Wow.
I was like, I don't know about that, but when
So
he
a
pointed out
couple
he made some valid points.
so a couple of things that I've seen. I haven't seen the Ezra as the Inquisitor part. That's pretty cool. But I've been hearing that possible of Starkiller from the Force Unleashed games as the Inquisitor. Now
Are those canon?
there's things that I don't know. To be honest with you, I don't necessarily know if they're canon. I guess I don't know. The problem is with the canon of Star Wars versus everything else. I'm a lot more knowledgeable on MCU canon, not Star Wars. Star Wars canon is very difficult
Yes.
because of how many different stories, how many different comic books, games, all these different things that have come out. It's very difficult to be like what's real, what's not, what's canon, what's not, what's just extra tales, whatever. Um, Dave Filoni has always wanted Starkiller to be a part of, a part of canon in live action with Sam Witwer. Is that his name? Last name?
Sam something.
Wit
Sam
Witwer.
Wiccan.
I
No,
can't remember
it's
the last name. I know it's Sam Whitter or something like that. Essentially, they've always wanted. I mean, he's always voiced Darth Maul. He was the main character of, he was Starkiller as in Force Unleashed 1 and 2. They wanted him to be in live action. The problem is with it, and that I've kind of seen in the videos, is there. It's kind of an interesting thing of how he was like this secret Padawan to Darth Vader that the Emperor didn't know about. How is he supposed to be an inquisitor? Like, has he been a long-standing inquisitor? Has he been hidden and then given the name of Merrick, which is something different? I mean, all this different kind of things that are like, it would be difficult to explain in a way unless they do it right. Which Dave Filoni, shout out that guy. If anyone can do it, it's him. The guy's gonna be able to
yes.
figure it out. And especially Sam himself is like the most knowledgeable person in like all of Star Wars canon. The guy is like lives, breathes, and emits like Star Wars basically. Anytime you ask him about it, he will like give you this whole like rundown on anything you want to know about Star Wars. It's actually pretty impressive. Um, but there's the same with Freddie Prinze Jr. Actually, Freddie Prinze Jr. voiced Kanan in Rebels. Um, so I
I was
mean,
thinking that too when you were
like
saying.
those two people. Like, I mean, you put them in a room together, and they're gonna talk Star Wars. Um,
Yes.
but whoever it is, I'm very curious to see, what we end up getting for the reveal of that. At the end of the day, I don't think it's either going to be really cool, like a really cool kind of fan pop of, oh, it's Starkiller, oh, it's Ezra, oh, it's just a fucking guy,
Yeah.
if it ends up just being a guy, I'm not going to be mad either way, whatever the case may be as to, who the person ends up being. I don't really care about that per se. I more so care about the rest of the story more than just like who's under the mask of the one like side inquisitor.
Well,
To
like
be
this
honest.
is technically this shows like it's all leading towards this movie that's like has the Mandalorian, Ahsoka, Thrawn, and it's gonna be one of those big Star Wars movies that's like all these shows. It's leading to this movie where they have I'm assuming they defeat Thrawn or some shit.
Well, I
But
mean,
it's
at
it's
some
leading
point
to
he has to
that.
be defeated because episode 7 has to happen, and that motherfucker wasn't in it.
Yeah.
So we have to eventually get to the point where like it's between Rebels, or it's between 6 Rebels and 7, essentially of like, okay, this hell has to happen. Well, actually, Rebels is before 4, 5, and 6,
Yes, because it was
but
after Clone Wars.
yes. Regardless, my point
Yeah,
stands
I'm
of
not
what I
gonna
mean.
lie. Like this show is very, very much, and I'm all for it. I might not be like the most popular one, like The Mandalorian, because The Mandalorian, I don't think you really had to be a Star Wars fan to just like to watch it and enjoy it,
Mhm.
in my opinion. But for this is for like the Star
This is
Wars
for the
fans, like
fans. This is for the
the
fans, man.
like not even casual fans. My dad's a casual fan. He doesn't know any of these Rebel characters. I want him to watch the show because it was good. But if you're a nerd about Star Wars, this is for you.
So the
Um,
the only thing in a lot of the time where I'm struggling to kind of keep up with certain items of the story. So I know Ezra, sacrificed himself with Thrawn, and they're still out there somewhere. Which we're
yeah.
kind of finding out more and more as these episodes go along, how these certain things are all making sense, essentially. Um, I watched most of Rebels, but the only thing I didn't watch was the last season, and I feel like that last season is very, very um needed.
You didn't watch the last season
I
of
didn't watch the
Rebels?
last season. I got through all of it except for the last season.
You
I didn't do it
motherfucker.
on purpose necessarily. I wasn't just like, fuck this show. I enjoy the show a lot. I love the characters.
Last season was the best season.
Of course it was. Of course it was.
You need to watch it.
Yes,
We could watch it together if you want.
I'm down.
Just lie down and watch some Rebels.
The difficult part for me, because I know the characters. I get the characters. I get how the basic part of the story is working. I get what all of it is trying to do they're trying to find Thrawn. They're trying to get Ezra. This, that, whatever. Um, but there's like certain little bits where I feel like for whatever reason I'm just confused in a way. So I'm kind of like almost in between you and your dad's knowledge of like what the hell is going on, you know. So I mean,
I
episode 2 is when they start going on about the whole presentation of, oh yeah, they saved our city, and that's when they had
oh yeah.
like Sabine and everything missed out on it, and that's where we get like the whole introduction to Sabine, right?
Yeah. Well, actually, that's in episode 1 still.
It is, right? I'm not crazy.
Yeah.
Because in episode 2
So
is them trying to like track after like where the hell the droids brought it.
yes,
Yeah, okay.
yeah. And
So
then we had that badass scene with the Inquisitor and that droid versus Ahsoka, and
that was sick.
that was
It was
it.
sick.
I
It was so
honestly,
sick. It was so sick.
and then the way episode 3 ended, it was like there's gonna be some shit that goes down in
There's some
episode
shit
4.
going down for sure.
Basically, Ahsoka's
So
gonna kill everyone.
so yes, episode 1. Okay, so I wanted to make sure that was still part of the same thing, because I think
Yeah, it was.
directly after Ahsoka does that whole thing, they kind of go to the presentation of like, oh yeah,
Yeah,
Sabine's supposed to be there. I'm pretty sure.
and we finally get to see the live action Lothal, and like,
Yes.
dude, I mean, this is part of my nose. I fucking love the way it looked in live action. Like Dave Filoni, like this, like Rebels is fresh in my mind because I just watched it like a month ago. So like that shit looked really like to the T, really fucking good. Even the long ass highway that's for some reason there.
Yeah.
That's
Right.
literally one
Yeah.
straight
It's
highway.
dude. It's so stupid because it just cuts off into just like the desert.
Yeah,
So what
that's
the
it.
fuck's the
It's
point of
like,
the highway?
why is it so long? Why can you just make it a little shorter? But I gotta say, from the trailers, I was like unsure the way like Hera looked. Hera Syndulla, I think is her
Yes,
full name.
Hera Syndulla.
Um, so I was unsure the way she looked. I'm like, okay, she looks okay. But like as episode 1 went on, episode 2, I was like, I'm fucking with this a lot. Like the actress is killing it. The way
Mary
the
Elizabeth
costume,
Winstead. Shout out Obi-Wan's fucking wife.
hell,
Shout out.
that's a Star Wars power couple
Hell
if
yeah,
I've ever
dude.
seen one. Um, but she looks good, man. She looks fucking good, and the costume director, or all the cosmetics, they need a raise. She
Yeah.
looks damn fucking
I,
close to
I,
the
I
character.
agree. So at first, I didn't realize until like a week out that Mary Elizabeth Winstead was the one that was playing Hera. After seeing all the trailers and everything, I didn't recognize her at first. And like you said, with the trailers, it didn't look incredible. And then as we see her, we quite literally see her. I was like, oh, okay. It's probably the best you're honestly gonna get as far as like a direct from animated to live action in terms of like what a character is gonna look like, supposed to look like.
Yeah.
In terms of what does she look like IRL, basically.
You
Um,
can tell. You can tell Filoni cares because like they all look really good. Like so obviously Ahsoka looks good.
mhm.
And Sabine looks good. Chopper looks good. I mean, we just got a little bit of him.
Oh my God,
Um,
man, we're gonna get
Sab-
into when we start opening episode 2 real quick. We're gonna have to give Chopper some love, man.
I
My
love
favorite
Chopper.
character in this show so far.
I'm not gonna lie. For like, I think this is episode 1 a lot. The tension between Ahsoka and Sabine, like there. So like, I thought I thought you saw the last season of Rebels. So basically, it ends with Ezra, you know, basically with the help of the Purgil, he moves Thrawn to the unknown regions of the universe, using the Force, and using hyperspace. And it basically ends with Ahsoka and Sabine meeting up to try to find him. And then obviously we didn't get that in season 5. I don't know why. Um, So apparently, I mean, there's some unknown stuff that happened that they're trying to like show us between them. Like she tried to train her as her Padawan, and because they're kind of both kind of hard headed and shit, it didn't really work out. Um, so oh man, oh you gotta. I'm just thinking about all the shit you missed in season 4. You gotta watch season 4. Like you missed some stuff.
I'm sure, dude. I'm kind of getting pieces of it as as the show's going on for sure. I'm kind of piecing it together really quick. Lots of tension. Sabine, like the rebel she is, just
Well,
continues to be the rebel.
but this is the thing that was never explored like at all during Rebels. So this is brand new.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm all for it. Like, I'm cool with that. They're gonna need more. I mean, I don't know how the timeline works when it comes to like the newer, like how like how like in the new Star Wars movies, like the new ones, like it's supposed to be Rey rebuilding the Jedi Order. One, like really looking forward to that, by the way. Um, but like, is Sabine gonna be in it? Is Ezra gonna be in it? Like, is Grogu gonna be in it? Like, what are they eat? Like,
Yeah. There's a lot of stuff that we don't understand, and well, I mean, between 6 where we are now and then 7 at the same time, Ben Solo also destroys the Jedi Temple that Luke had built.
mhm,
So now with this
yeah,
whole rebuild, what happened to these characters in the meantime? That's kind of what we're exploring, and there's a lot to explore, in the meantime as well that they can kind of go off of for multiple seasons of like a lot of this stuff for that reason.
yeah,
I'm here for it. Big fan of it, to be honest. Like,
same. I'm ready. But I like the tension. Because they're both very hard-headed, I guess. In a way. I mean, Ahsoka. I mean, she literally was trained by fucking Darth Vader. Like, well, before it turned, obviously, but like he was a tough master on her, so like she has to be tough, and she knows what she's doing. And Sabine, like she's a Mandalorian. Those guys are fucking stubborn as shit. So like, and she was trained by, uh, what's his name? Freddie Prinze Jr.'s uh,
Kanan.
Hayden. She was trained by him to use the dark saber for a little bit. So like she has some training. So I'm assuming I wish we could have saw the like what happened in between and then we get to this point, but I mean, shit, they could have done 10 episodes. I mean, I don't know if that was in the the budget or anything, but I would have been down for that.
I
Um,
think that, like you said, or actually another cool part would be if Star Killer ends up being Merrick, would be the fact that you'd have Ahsoka, the apprentice of Anakin, and you'd have Star Killer, the apprentice of Darth Vader. That'd be a
yeah.
really cool way to kind of put things in perspective that way. Um, you
I'll
know,
tell you why they can make it work. Um, and I honestly didn't even think about it until you said that. Like I didn't even know who that character was. I never played those games. Probably should, right? They're
no, they're
good.
great games. Yeah, I think they're fun.
Um, but because Thrawn was in these comics that are not canon anymore, but Dave Filoni loved his character so much, and he's a great character. He's a fucking great villain. He loved his character so much he threw him in the Rebels and made him canon. So like, I think Filoni could do the same shit with Starkiller if if he likes You said he likes his character a lot.
He Sam Witwer himself had said like, yeah, at some point like Dave had said like he wants to bring the character of Star Killer to life. So I think it's always a possibility. It could always happen. Um, we just gotta kind of see how the season unfolds, find out what ends up going on. Um,
Pretty sure it's 8 episodes, by the way.
yeah, so we got 5 more. Got 5 more. I think the last episode, ironically, is on my birthday. Just love that.
Oh,
Fucking
shit, love that.
sick.
This shit better be longer than 30 minutes though. These 30
My
minute
my favorite
episodes.
part about that week is gonna be number one, the guys are down, so we'll have that whole thing going on. So the last episode comes out on Wednesday. That Friday, Loki season 2 starts.
No way.
Yeah, so it's literally sick. It's great. It's a great time.
My God.
So anyway, okay, let's get back, reel it in, go to episode.
I'm not quite. I don't think I don't remember everything like exact. But
Yeah,
basically, what she was trying to find a map
a
to
map
find
to find
Thrawn basically.
Ezra slash Thrawn.
Thrawn.
Yes.
Yeah, because
So basically, Hera's like, there's only one person that can really help you, And she's like, "Fuck, it's Sabine. That sucks." So then, she goes to Lothal, trying to tell her, need your help, but don't leave. She leaves, of course, being the rebel she is. She ends up
Yep.
getting caught by the assassin droids, and she gets stabbed by the apprentice of Balin. Um, episode one ends. We think Sabine's gonna die practically. Ahsoka gets there in time, saves her, and now everybody is like, Qui-Gon Jinn is looking at all of these motherfuckers from beyond, being like, how the
It's like,
fuck,
what the
how are
fuck?
y'all surviving? Um,
Actually, someone explained it. I don't know if it was on Twitter or it was on naturally a screen course video that I was watching. He got hit directly in the center. She got hit like in the side. So like in a way, great. Like it did go right through her, but it was like on the side where like there's no important like organs. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, I guess
So
stupid, but whatever.
I do have a question for you. Like, one when she pulled out that green lightsaber, were you like, is that Ezra's?
Well, I knew it was Ezra's, so that is the part that I kind of could just gather. To be honest, I kind of just understood. I was like, yeah, because I know at the end of Rebels, like basically he was towards Ezra was basically a Jedi Knight at that point. He was to the level at that point of like a Jedi Knight because like he had gotten enough training
He
and
was
like
getting there.
he kind of came within himself and had like the spiritual side of it and was gathering like the expertise of like the physical Jedi stuff at that point. Um, so I knew that part of it. Like I was like, oh yeah, like that's probably Ezra's, right? Like it's green, his was green. Kind of put two and two together on that one. Um, so episode two starts. Then she's like, no, the droid stole it, and then she's able to mess with the droid to try and figure out where the droid had
Where the
come
droid
from.
came from.
And then they
Yeah.
go like this scrapyard on a different planet. They go and find out there's some Empire or Empire loyalists there that attempt to kill them to try and wipe them out. Then my favorite part of that episode was the interaction between Hera and Chopper as they're trying to track down and put the thing on there.
Yes.
Like the funny part is being able to understand everything that he's saying. She's like, Chopper just being like, "Did you go through my stuff?" And then she's like, "No, I did not go through your stuff." She goes, "Yeah, huh?" Like I mean, like just the way that Chopper has continued to be such a funny character in even serious moments. Like it's a serious gunfight. Like they need to do something very serious, and he's like looking through. He's like looking through. He finds it. And he's like, "Haha, I found it!" Like putting subtitles to Chopper is the funniest fucking thing ever because he
Yeah.
literally at the beginning he goes, "What the fuck?" I saw the captions too, and I was dying laughing because you can understand him very easily. It's a lot of the time it's easy to understand what he's doing. So they're adding so much more life than like R2 or BB-8 to where you can understand practically what the fuck he's saying.
Yeah.
Which I think is really great. The droids of the past have kind of been like you get or you're there. It's implied as to what they're doing, so it's like okay, I get it. But like with this, there's no denying this motherfucker is saying this
Yeah.
basically. Which is something I love entirely. They are able to throw the tracking device on there, find out where they went to, um, and then like you said, the Inquisitor ends up fighting Ahsoka with the assassin droid, and then I think one of the most hard moments of like Star Wars canon happens where he throws his lightsaber, she gets on the ship, and he tries to bring it back, and she just goes, "Psych, motherfucker," and just like watches it go by. That was so sick for no reason.
Yeah.
Like it was just like a cold ass like, "I got you, bitch. You got away this time, but just it's all good."
I
Like I
can
think that was just really really cool.
Dude, this whole fight that's gonna end up happen. I know the planet that these Jedi mercenaries. I don't even know what to call them at this point, but like Jedi mercenaries are on with what's her face the prisoner. What was her name again?
It's Morgan something.
Morgan something.
Let
No,
me just look it up so I can get the character names because I'm getting pissed just being like I forget what these.
I'm horrible with the character
Me
names,
too.
but I accept it. I probably should pull up IMDb though.
It's
Maybe for
kind
the
of what I
next one.
have. Morgan Elsbeth.
Okay, so she's a Night Sister. You remember them for the Clone Wars?
We're gonna get Captain Rex.
Don't spoil it. Don't
I
spoil it.
No, I literally just popped it up and it gave me like the acting list and it said, "Oh yeah, Tamora Morrison is Captain Rex."
I'm gonna come.
I'm gonna come. No, but her.
To-
So the apprentice's name is Shin Hati, and then there's Balin Skull. Um, those, and then Morgan Elsbeth. Okay. So anyway, I'm gonna keep
so
this up just in case we need it.
so she's a Night Sister, and like they use like dark side
Yes,
magic.
she's like a night sister.
She's like one of the last ones, basically. Because
From what I'm understanding, it seems like she's the last one.
I'm pretty sure she is. There was one in one of the games from what
In
I
Jedi Fallen Order, there was a night brother.
I had to be a sister because it was a girl.
There's not well, there was a
But
male. There was a guy on
the males are
Mustafar.
or yeah, the males are basically like Darth Maul's like, you know, whatever. Like
Oh, it
they're
wasn't
the
Mustafar.
same
It was
species
the
as Darth
planet.
Maul.
Yeah, but the guy wasn't. He wasn't. What the fuck? Anyway, regardless.
It
Okay,
was a girl.
regardless. She's nice sister. Nice sister. Yeah, yeah. Nice sister. Nice sister.
But that I don't know what the planet they're on. One, it looks sick. I'm not gonna lie. I love
Yes,
the
with
vibe
like the
of it.
red,
It's like
like the red trees and stuff like that. Yeah.
forgot where I was going with that one, but it's a very cool planet, and the shit that's gonna go down on that planet, I can't wait. I don't know how much they're gonna do in the next episode. And now I'm gonna be honest. I need these episodes to be longer than 30 minutes. I need more.
I need more.
I need fucking more.
I definitely need more.
I'd be down for 50. I think that's a good time.
Give
Um,
me 70.
I'm not gonna lie. Ahsoka, the guy from Screen Crush, definitely pointed this out, and I kind of agreed. Ahsoka seems different than she did in Rebels. She seems like more stoic.
How do you mean?
I, it's hard to explain. Like the way she goes about stuff in Rebels, and but you can't really compare her to Clone Wars because she was much younger.
Right.
But the way she goes about stuff in Rebels is a little bit different. And the way Rosaria Dawson is kind of portraying her is seems a little bit more stoic, and I don't know another word to describe her. Um, it's like a little bit more chilled out in a way. It's like almost she's a master, you know. So I'm not minding it. I'm just saying it's a good point. She is a little bit different than she was in Rebels. That was a good reason, but you have to watch season 4 to see why. Um, I have this in my notes. Ray Stevenson's character so far, his villain. I'm fucking loving it. I absolutely love it. Rest in peace for him. Let me go to this now. I'm not quite in episode 3. Not a lot happened. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't like a filler episode per se,
Not at
but
all.
it
No.
was definitely like it was an episode.
Just with like some training.
Yeah, there was some training going on. This kind of like coming together of Ahsoka and Sabine a little bit, like their understanding of the mission itself. They're putting past issues aside so they can try and come together as far as that goes. And here for it, definitely here
Yeah.
for it. I'm
Now,
liking the way that naturally, the people, Natasha and Rosario Dawson, are coming together like as like the chemistry works for their characters of
yes.
Sabine and Ahsoka for sure so far.
Rekindling their relationship as
Yes.
master and Padawan.
Yeah.
Now, like I mean, this is a very big plot point. Sabine's ability to use the Force is like she can't really use the Force.
I mean, it's very similar to Rey in a way. Like Rey has
Rey caught on quickly though.
she caught on because she was more open to it, but at first she still had the trouble of whatever. Still remember part of episode 8 at least. Like she's like she had to go to Luke for help to begin with because she didn't get how to do it. And it's kind of a similar thing. Yeah, fully master and understand like how to do it. This is a thing where I think it's gonna be like a season payoff type of deal where Sabine's finally gonna be able to use it. It's kind of one of those things where it's like it's a character arc builder. It's a reason for her to be there a lot more than just being like extra help. It's a way to make her like a main side character, if that makes sense. To give her own arc on the side that isn't just necessarily for like the main mission of just getting the fucking map back.
I love this line. I did love a lot of things about this episode. It didn't like not a lot happened, but and I mean I'm loving the series so far. But when Ahsoka was like, I don't need her to be a Jedi, because like even Ahsoka, everyone, I mean, casuals will be like, oh, Ahsoka's a Jedi. She's not a Jedi. She walked away from being a Jedi. She's just a fucking badass lightsaber user, basically.
Pretty much.
Um, but she's like, I don't need her to be a Jedi. I need her to be Sabine. And Sabine is more than enough. Like we saw what she could do in Rebels. She can do more than enough
Yeah.
to
She's a
help.
she's a she's a clever Mandalorian who, if you give her the Force
Like
abilities, like she can be
and a
very,
lightsaber.
yeah. You can give her, power more than anyone could imagine, pretty much.
Yeah,
Um, Pretty much Mando on crack.
yeah, 100%. Um, uh, the little training scene with her finding blind. I like that because like I don't know. I just thought it was cool. I like the whole scene, the way it was done. Um, and I think she was kind of catching on a little bit towards the end, and then I kind of obviously
Yeah,
had to
it
stop.
seemed like a little bit at like throughout the entire scene, like you were seeing glimpses of it where she was kind of understanding, but then she was getting like also overzealous of where she was. So she'd be able to, hit where Ahsoka was, but then she'd still try and fight the one spot. It's almost like a
Yeah,
Mandalorian instinct for her to like continuously just like go for it,
keep
go for it,
going.
go for it. When it's like, okay, you need to slow down. You've hit once, like the whole thing's moved. Like
Yeah,
you got to be able to like reel it in and like focus. It's more like a brute, like let me just get through it versus find a way to get around it type of thing. It's
and like I'm assuming Mandalorians, the way they're taught to fight is using their emotions and using
I mean,
anger and
it's just like use your brutal tactics of like just get through it. Don't even like you don't have to necessarily think. You think in terms of tactics, not in terms of like calmness, steadiness, like the force like users use. Like their fights
exactly
aren't coordinated on like this tactical approach. It's based on like
the way they
staying within
feel.
yourself, feel the force around you to help you use the lightsaber, all this type of stuff. You saw the disconnect in episode 1, and now in this episode 2, or episode as well 3, being that Sabine is not in touch with. It's almost like she's not in touch with herself, and that's exactly what Ahsoka is trying to unlock in a way, because she's like, oh, like how do I find the Force essentially, or how do I get in tune with it? And she's like, you have to figure that out. I can't tell you how.
Yeah,
Every Jedi, every Force user, period, finds a way to do that. They are able to find the way. They find it within themselves to open themselves to the Force in a way. Everyone can use the Force. That's the whole big thing of Star Wars. Everybody has the midichlorians to have the Force. It's, you need to unlock those midichlorians to unlock the Force. So it's something that we're probably gonna see throughout the rest of the show. It's that we're gonna have some big battle. I'm sure where it's gonna be Balin and Shin versus Sabine and Ahsoka. I mean, it's kind of it's there for sure. Having like the or having the Padawan master on both sides, kind of.
if they do all four of them at once, that would be pretty fucking cool.
I
But
think
I
so
have a
too.
feeling. I have a feeling. This is what I'm just guessing. I'm assuming in a way they're gonna kind of split off and like because you see in the trailer, Ahsoka fights Balin by herself by that like rock,
Hmm.
thing to help like show the map basically. Um, and you see in the trailer Sabine is fighting what's her name? The
Shin.
apprentice, Shin. Her somewhere else too. So I feel like it might be happening at the same time, but it could be in different places. So I think that'd be
Yeah,
cool, little back
that's
and
true
forth.
too. That'd be a really cool scene for sure. I think is there potential like Hera versus Morgan Elsbeth type of thing? Like, I mean, where are these characters gonna come in more than just being a
Oh,
part of it? Because don't get me wrong, you're gonna incentivize a lot of people to watch it if you have these Rebel characters in there for sure. Having these characters you watch for 4 seasons, in live action, you're gonna want to watch it. Um,
this might sidetrack us a second, but I got a question for you. So you remember when Ahsoka first came in The Mandalorian, right? In that
mhm.
episode, in season 2. So when she fought Morgan, she was using like a staff, like made of like Beskar, so she can like fight like someone using a lightsaber. If she's a Night Sister, Why the fuck didn't she use her uh dark side magic? I think she at the time they weren't like they didn't think she like it didn't work in the story of her being like a night sister, but like they kind of just like wrote her in as a night sister in Ahsoka. Does that make sense?
Maybe it was a thing where she didn't want to reveal herself as one. That type of deal is how they can explain it. Um,
Maybe.
there's probably ways to explain it that they'll be able to find.
I don't want to rewatch that episode now. I'm not gonna lie,
Me too.
just because it was cool.
Just because as soon as I saw her, I was like, oh yeah, I do remember her. But like, I don't remember where from, if that makes sense. Like, it seemed like
Yeah.
so long ago. Mandalorian season 2 was like 2021, wasn't it?
I mean, honestly, we might as well start a fucking Star Wars podcast because, dude, the way they did Book of Boba Fett and they had like Mando season, like two Mando episodes that had nothing to do with like Boba.
Yeah.
It was so stupid. Shit was so stupid.
um,
But anyway, so going back to episode 3, I loved this scene from start to finish when Hera was talking to like the Rebel Senate, trying to get like reinforcements to help Ahsoka. I love that shit from start to finish. It was like helping in a like I loved it because it was like referencing rebels in a like very in a way that made sense.
yeah,
That
it wasn't just the sake of like calling
just
back things.
mentioning.
It made sense in the terms of the story itself. Because they're like,
Yeah.
yeah, like we think like Admiral Thrawn can come back, and then the one guy, of course, is like going back and forth with her, and then I think Harris clapbacks were pretty intelligent. Like, oh, so you just
Yeah.
kind of did you fight the war? No, so you just sat back and waited to see who won, so you can just basically be their bitch.
Yeah.
So her clapbacks were very real and they made a lot of sense. Um, so it
Right there. That's when I was like, wait a minute. I was like, wait a minute. Which war is she talking about? I was like, is she talking about the Clone Wars, or is she talking about when the Empire
just the
falls?
no, I mean I think it was just the entire fight of Rebel versus Empire during 456 type of deal. I think she's talking about the
Yeah, I'm thinking.
entirety of it all, and then of course
Yeah.
like the more real battle of the Rebel versus Empire, like in Episode 6 type of deal, where it was
Mhm.
like the real final like blow, like oh that you just kind of just sat back and let whatever happen.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so I thought that was really cool the way that they did that as well.
We see her son.
Yeah,
Now you didn't she he was like in like one scene in like an episode at the last episode of like season 4. But she has a kid with uh what's his face again?
Kanan Jarrus.
Kanan. She has a kid with him, so like he's potential Jedi in the future. That would be cool to see. Um One thing I kind of noticed. Now this is, you know, we didn't get to see this during, you know, the in between of season 4 and then and Ahsoka, but it seems like Ahsoka was pretty tough on Sabine. Like her training was probably pretty tough, and that's why like they butted heads a lot because they probably have different ways of going about shit. You know,
Yeah, I mean
that's one thing I
she's really
noticed.
testing her to see what type of motive are you gonna have here? Are you gonna try and do it like because I want you to, or are you doing it for like yourself to like unlock this different version of yourself in a way? I mean,
Yeah,
it's interesting for sure.
and it makes sense because like Anakin was tough on her. Like I mean, you mentioned Tales of the Jedi, which I kind of just went through really quickly last month, and there was that one episode where like it's just Anakin going hard on her in one specific drill, so she can get better at it, so she doesn't die in the field. So like it was, it correlates a lot, like how his training, with the way he trained her, and that's basically the way she's gonna train Sabine, you know.
Yeah.
Um, uh, so the space fight, like when basically they go through hyperspace and they go to that planet that I don't remember, because that they on episode 2 they like basically figured out, oh, it came from this specific planet. So they, obviously went there.
Well,
And
they put the tracking device on, and essentially, it's episode 3 is tracking down the tracking device itself.
yes,
So they finally do that. They get to the thing, and then the air fight was cool because the ships that didn't have the two Inquisitors, but had
It's the throwaway
Like the
characters,
throwaway
basically.
characters, like the ships looked more like legitimate like World War II like planes in a way. They kind of had that type of feel to it, in my opinion, which I thought was kind of cool. Just like the big end on the front that was the had the propeller type of deal, and like the small wings, like that, just like that type of
Oh,
feel to it. In my opinion, I was like, huh. That's
I'll have
just
to
kind of
relook at that.
what they kind of looked like
See
to
if
me. And then
that's.
also, what the ship that Shin was in was a very similar one to what General Grievous had,
Mhm.
in Episode 3, which I thought was very cool. Um, the whole air raid, they escape them, and then they go through the star whales, and then they
Well, I mean,
land,
honestly,
and the episode
something big
basically ends.
happens.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, the
Some.
episode kind of ends with just
It's,
Balin being on the ground, being like, "Find them, kill them," and then like boom,
yeah.
end of the episode, and we're like, "Oh, what the fuck?"
I know. I was like, you. This is gonna. As soon as he started talking, like saying, like they're hiding in the forest. Find them. I was like, oh, the episode's gonna hear. And
Yeah,
it fucking went black. I was like, you motherfucker.
yeah,
But during the space fight, something important happened between, I guess, with the dynamic between Ahsoka and Sabine. Ahsoka, instead of like telling her what to do and what she expects of her, she's like, okay, what do you need from me? Like, what do you want me to do? And then, because Sabine is a capable person of fighting, she's clearly shown that. So she asked her, like, what do you need from me? And then Sabine basically
yeah.
like
So she basically instead was like, okay, instead of trying to like
anticipated.
make this whole thing a lesson and everything, what do you
Yeah.
need so that we can, number one, survive, and two, so you can succeed right here? So I think Ahsoka's trying to learn, like, okay, I can't like just do this whole thing of expectations as if like you were born into this like I was. It's a thing where like I need to set you up for success in a way. It's almost like a parent, like it's almost like a parenting type moment is what she's kind of having. Like, oh, instead of just saying like you should do it this way, it can be like, okay, what do you need from me so that you feel you can succeed in a certain thing? The moment she does that, she's like, okay, when I say do this, you do this, and then she does it, and then she's like, all right, never mind, good job, like that's pretty good. Um, I thought that was super cool as well. Like that was a good shout, saying that. I thought
No,
I
Street
thought that was
Crush.
a really cool moment for sure. Like it's a lot of these things are more meaningful than they seem.
Yeah.
I don't know how the fuck Ahsoka changed that fast into a spacesuit, but fuck it, I don't
But
really
yeah,
care.
and that's in my notes because I was like, basically, I have in my notes, Ahsoka outside the ship was different. LOL.
It was
I was
different.
like,
She also,
it
dude,
was.
she changed so fast. She's like, "I'll be right back." 2 seconds later, she's in a full fucking spacesuit outside already, and I'm like, "Sure."
Wow.
I
And
was like, "Sure."
and one realistic thing I was kind of hoping, and now this would have taken too long. I was hoping she would have like some type of like tether attached to her, so she like, in case she jumped too far, she wouldn't fucking just float away because he's in
Yeah,
space. That was one thing I didn't like. I didn't mind. I thought she was gonna use when she went out there. I didn't think she was gonna use the lightsabers. I thought she was gonna use the force to like push the like as they came at her like
yeah,
maneuver them a different direction or some shit. But I didn't mind her like jumping around, fucking trying to cut the shit.
yeah.
Well, to give Sabine some time. I thought it was definitely different. I'll tell you that.
That
I've never
was
seen that
it
before.
was definitely different.
Um, and
I
dude, that
think looking forward to the next episode, dude. I mean, it's a whole week away from today. We gotta wait for it.
uh, let's see. Oh, so like this planet, like I didn't know this from the start, like in Mandalorian season 2,
Mhm.
like in that when she first appears in there, but like Dave Filoni like she's basically like his he's trying to pay homage to like samurai through her, which I think is kind of cool. And you kind of get that through this new planet. Like it's like it almost has like cherry blossom fucking trees and
Yeah,
shit. Like and like I don't know, it just looks fucking sick, dude. Like and like the way she's introduced in episode 1, it looks straight out of Rebels, honestly. Remember when she's on that planet trying to get the ball?
yeah,
So like because that's the thing I have much like the planet gives me samurai vibes. I'm like, this is something we haven't seen before. And like fun fact, like uh George Lucas was inspired by samurai for the way like the Jedi like fight and shit.
yeah.
So like
Absolutely.
that's why Dave Filoni's drawn from, which is kind of cool. Um, but I mean that's all I got. I
I
mean
mean,
I,
yeah,
I
I
could
think basically to wrap it up, I mean, these episodes were fucking incredible. I think it's great towards the next episode, the rest of the season. Mike, do you wanna let the people know what we got cooking up, or about what this whole little dynamic's gonna turn into, or
So we don't have a name yet. I'm starting a channel. I have it name. I have a name. It's called 424 Movies. Basically, I'm just waiting for my friend Kazra, Kazra Buddy, to finish the graphics. And basically, conversations is gonna end. Well, it won't end until Ahsoka ends. I think we should just do a recap episode for each one because we just love talking about this shit.
yeah.
Um, but basically we're gonna convert these conversations are gonna go on my channel, and we're gonna call it something different, and we're just gonna fucking vibe. We're just gonna do it whenever we want, when we got time. Life happens, you know. But that's why we're doing it about a week later.
Yeah, well,
we
episodes
thought.
1 and 2 are a little bit late, but we have very conflicting schedules, so we're trying
Yeah.
to do it as we can. But yeah, so I think what the plan will be, we'll just finish Ahsoka out on conversations, and then once Ahsoka finishes and Loki starts, we'll be starting the new channel. Mike is gonna be basically the lead of that at that point, and then I'll just kind of be his kind of castmate, his side mate, as we go. Versus how that's kind of been a little bit different, in terms of me kind of taking the lead in a lot of ways. It's actually going to be him this time. It's going to be all, most of it's going to be him. I'm just going to tag along for the fun and, give someone for him to talk to, as the episodes go and everything like that for different shows in the future. I think these first 3 episodes are really sick. I cannot wait for the rest of the season for sure. At the end of the day, you're all good. You all Ahsoka talked out for this episode, or?
I feel like I could talk more. I feel like we're missing some shit.
I'm sure we're missing a lot of stuff, at this point. Listen, man, we work every day. It kind of makes it a little bit difficult to try and remember a lot of things
Yeah.
about the episodes for sure. But I think at the end of the day, this is going to do it for the first episode versus, well, the first 3 episode kind of breakdown of Ahsoka here, but this episode of Conversations with myself, Jacob CapShotz, and then Michael Hush. We are out. Peace.
Jeez.